In this video, I'm going to tell you a very powerful, very important secret about you. Now, very few people alive today have even the faintest clue about this vital information. Encoded in this information is absolutely everything you need to completely transform your life into an experience that's joyful, blissful, and harmonious. Intrigued? Now, the secret itself is actually incredibly simple. But when you learn to apply this secret to your life, then its hidden potential blossoms. Then you discover tools that you can use to free yourself to live a life full of joy and grace. And when the time comes for this lifetime of yours to be concluded, then with this information, you'll be truly free to decide to move on to higher realms or to other realities. You will of course be able to return to incarnation again if you so choose. But what I'm saying is that this information about yourself is what will ensure that you will always and forevermore have the power to choose and to create as you desire. So, are you done with being a victim in your life? Are you ready to let go of experiences that are not right for you? Are you ready to let go of being forced to return to incarnation over and over again due to an eternity of unfinished business? If you are, then here is the secret. You are not who you think you are. The you that you think you are is actually just a dream. This world that you're living in is just a dream world. This is all a dream. If that doesn't sound like an amazing, life-changing secret, then perhaps we need to delve a little further to really understand it. Now, the next level of the secret unfolds when you begin to ponder that if you are just a dream, then who is the dreamer? The dreamer is who you actually are. And the dreamer is an eternal, immortal creator being of infinite power. What I'm saying is that you are actually this eternal, immortal creator being who is currently experiencing itself through this dream of being a human being. You, bright dreamer, have dreamed many dreams. Usually we call these incarnations, but perhaps you've dreamed all kinds of other grander dreams too. Perhaps besides these incarnations that you've had, perhaps you've dreamed whole universes, whole realities into being. It doesn't matter what your dreams have been, it all comes down to the same thing. You are a dazzlingly powerful creator being who is right now, for reasons of your own, experiencing itself through the impossibly limited perspective of being a small, mortal human being. And here comes the next layer of the secret. As long as you continue to hold the same level of consciousness that you now hold, then you will keep creating the same kinds of dreams that you are now dreaming. This is how it comes to be that some of us end up creating hundreds and hundreds of lifetimes, each one a minute variation on the same theme. And so round and round and round we go, lifetime after lifetime, essentially doing the same damn thing over and over again, until we find ourselves completely exhausted by the process of incarnation. You have so many people saying, I'm not coming back again, I don't want to do this again, I won't be forced to do this again. Well, this is what it's about. How does this come to be? Well, you see, as powerful as you are, and you certainly are, as powerful as you are, there is no rule saying you cannot tie your own consciousness up in knots if you try. And let me tell you something else about you. And this one's no secret. This is something anyone who's even vaguely observant would notice. It's this. You are tied up in some pretty spectacular knots. Everyone at this level of consciousness is. These knots are the source of our fear and pain. It's why we have troubled relationships, ill health, financial woes, body issues, fears, anxieties, a plethora of woes and struggles. But these things are not what they seem. These things are not real. They are simply the dream effects of the knots that you have tied up in your own soul. Another name for these knots is limiting beliefs. So what would happen, beautiful dreamer, if you were to undo and release some of these knots in your soul? Have you ever had a lucid dream? This is a dream in which, while dreaming, you suddenly realize that you are dreaming. I've had a few such lucid dreams in my lifetime, and I can tell you they can be a ridiculously fun experience. When you know you are dreaming, then the limitations of the dream suddenly no longer apply to you. So I'll give you an example. In one dream I had, I was busy being chased by some scary, shadowy characters. I won't get the whole story, but the point is, I was being chased and it was becoming almost nightmarish. You know, one of those where you're running away and you can't run fast enough and it feels like you're moving through molasses. And something happened and I realized this is a dream. And as I realized that, I could just leap up, literally take off and fly away like Superman. So then I circled round and I buzzed those guys. And I literally laughed myself awake. I woke up because I was laughing so hard. I'll give you another example. In another dream, which became lucid, I chose to invite my own spirit guide into the dream to have a conversation with me. Now, this was really amazing. I was struggling with a particular issue at the time. And in this conversation, I arrived at information that allowed me freedom, that allowed me to move forward in my life. Incredibly useful. Lucid dream. So these two examples of my own lucid dream really just illustrate the point. When you are dreaming and you become lucid, then the rules that previously constrained you no longer apply to you. Then you are free to act, free to choose, free to create at a whole other level. In just the same way, if you become lucid inside this dream, inside this incarnation, then everything changes. Not in the boring, predictable ways that your mind would currently right now imagine. I don't mean that in any negative way. It's just that your mind right now is still tied up with the same constraints. So I'm not talking about small things, getting the promotion you want at work or losing a bit of weight or getting a bit extra money. I'm not talking about just dabbling with the symptoms of your current restrictions. I'm talking about a fundamental phase shift in your self-perception. A quantum leap in your reality and your experience of life. A leap from where you are to a whole new, delightful way of being. Sure, you can play with the same toys if you really want. You can have improvements in those symptoms of your current struggle. But what I'm really talking about here is so much more than that. I'm talking about being free, not having to struggle at all with the same reality, with the same constraints. I'm talking about being free. So is that secret starting to sound a bit more like a big deal now? So the question, of course, is how to engineer this lucidity. One doesn't simply slip the bonds in one's own mind simply by wishing it to be so. The means by which you are right now in this deep state of limitation that you're in are powerful and pervasive. But they certainly can be overcome, and more easily than most would believe. There are certain very powerful, strong, positive things that you can do to achieve your own lucidity. And this is a journey that I'd very much like to take you on, if you are interested. I'd like to give you a pointer in the right direction. Round about where your physical heart is a kind of an energetic portal, a doorway that connects you to this limitless divine being that you truly are. In other words, the mortal human being that you think you are is the outer self. Via your heart, you are connected to your inner self. Your inner self is who you truly are. The inner self is godlike, powerful. And it is so because it is connected to the oneness. The inner self knows it is one with the oneness. And this oneness is what we often call God. So your heart is a portal that connects you via your inner self to God, to true limitlessness, to true infinity, infinite wisdom, infinite creativity, infinite knowing, infinite everything, which I suppose is the definition of infinity. Now, you can and will learn how to open this portal and be in constant conversation and right relationship with the oneness. This will inevitably happen to every spark of consciousness eventually. Given all of eternity, all will find their way there eventually. But if you are ready to begin learning how to do that right now, then I'm ready to show you how right now. I'm ready to share with you the tools that you can use to strip away the blockages, the limitations that keep you small, that keep your heart portal closed. And in this way, you can get your heart and your mind aligned, which is another way of saying you can get your outer being aligned with your inner being. Get the mortal self aligned with the eternal self. Get the ego aligned with the soul. All the same thing. When we've done that, I'm ready to introduce you to your shadow self. Now, the shadow self is the part of you that resides in fear. It's the part of you that is motivated by limitation. In many ways, an incredibly counterproductive part of you. And when we introduce you to the shadow self, I will show you how to integrate that being and bring it into the light of love, which will free you and which will allow you not to be motivated anymore by your limitation. And then, with that done, finally, I'm ready to share with you the tools of creation. There are 6 tools that you can use to create and recreate your life and your experiences over and over again in any way that is right for you as you open your heart portal and step into the power of your divine, limitless self. So, I'm ready. Are you? If you are ready for this journey home to your true self, then I'd like to invite you to visit the URL on screen now. This is a page on my website where I offer you more information about this incredible journey and the specifics of how I can guide you on it. I very much look forward to our travels together.